Joe Douglas met with the press today. Well, let's talk about it. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today we're going to be talking about the Joe Douglas press conference and the whole lot of nothing that he said. But there were some things that I think are very important for you to be able to take out from what he said. I think the biggest thing that was asked, obviously, is about the offensive line. And so we're going to talk about the offensive line and just piecing together the non-answers that he gave with some of the information that we already kind of have from inside the building and everything like that. I think the biggest thing that was asked, or at least that was talked about, was Alijah Vera-Tucker. Where is he going to play? What is the plan for Alijah Vera-Tucker? What do they want to do there? And I think the biggest thing that came to light in what I heard from the answer, and again, from some of the information that I already have from some people that are inside the building, is that obviously they don't want to keep moving Alijah Vera-Tucker in and out of different positions on the offensive line, but that they know that Alijah Vera-Tucker can play left tackle, right tackle, left guard, right guard, and they feel comfortable with him at either one of those four positions, which is true. The New York Jets should be. Alijah Vera-Tucker is exceptionally good offensive lineman and can play all four of those positions at an incredibly high level. But I think the biggest thing that I took away from that conversation, or at least the answer, is that we're not going to be moving him around throughout the entire year. We're going to find him a home, and he's going to stay there. And when you take into consideration that answer, it really narrows down the options or the possibilities of where he's going to play to two positions. I think that's left guard, and I think it's right tackle. And when you put together the information that we kind of already have gotten from people inside the building, that AVT has been told that he's going to play right tackle, it kind of builds up this narrative that the plan right now is that AVT is going to be the right tackle for the New York Jets moving forward. And again, there's a lot of reasons that makes sense, right? One, exceptionally high level of play when he played right tackle, and finding tackles in free agency is harder to do than finding interior offensive linemen. Two, he was a tackle in college, and when you draft an offensive lineman in the first round, especially since the expectation is that we're going to pick up AVT's fifth-year option, it does not differentiate from an interior offensive lineman to a tackle. So center, guard, and tackle fifth-year options are all the same. And if you have a player that can play at a really high level, at a position of need, that is more important objectively than the other positions, and you're going to have to pay him the same money, it makes sense to put him at tackle. And then when you partner that with what Joe Douglas said, and I'm going to pivot this into a little bit other thing, which is talking about how they can go about building the free agency, I think it's very important that he mentioned that there are three avenues that you can go into filling the offensive line: trade, free agency, and draft. And I think that obviously that's like a really no-brainer kind of an answer. But generally speaking, the answer tends to be free agency and draft. But the fact that he threw in trade as an option is a very, very interesting bit of information there, because I do think the New York Jets are actively looking at trades specifically at the offensive line, but also in the wide receiver room. Players like Brandon Ayuk and Justin Jefferson, who, to be fair, their general managers just came out in interviews this week saying that neither one of those players are going anywhere. And I totally understand that. They would be foolish to let players like that go, but at least it's been a conversation. But when players become available through trade, that is an option and a pathway that the New York Jets can tackle, and especially at tackle with players like Cam Robinson and Garrett Bowles and all of these things, where it's just like, well, the teams that they're currently on are contemplating cutting them because they're in such salary cap disarray. You can get them for really, really cheap day 3 picks and guarantee that you can bring a guy onto the roster, which I also thought was very, very interesting. He obviously mentioned some of the comments about, the Mecole Hardman stuff, and I'm not going to put any more videos out there. Those videos have been made. Dude was mad that he lost his job to a UDFA, and then started talking bad about the franchise that he lost a job to UDFA. Like, that's just the reality of it. Mecole Hardman lost his job to Xavier Gipson, and even if he was on the roster with Aaron Rodgers, I doubt his usability would have been all that great. We saw that at Kansas City, that he just wasn't really the weapon that he was before the injury. It happens. Whatever. Congratulations, you got another Super Bowl ring. You went back to Kansas City. Hopefully we get a tampering case going on. Whatever happens, happens. But one of the things that you do like to hear from your general manager, and Joe Douglas has been pretty good about this his entire time as general manager, is really just owning up to the fact that the team just hasn't been good enough. Respect is earned. It's taken. I really liked that comment from him. You have to go out there and take respect. It's not just given. Rosters on paper aren't what gets you respect. Winning games is what gets you respect. And the team hasn't won enough. And then also talking about, the shared frustrations with Woody and the organization about the players, the team not being at the level that they feel like they can be, especially with the players on the roster. But again, very non-answers when you get from a general manager in this position. You're not going to get a ton of stuff there. But him and his entire staff are obviously there at the combine. They're going to be scouting their players, having the meetings with the players, and doing their best job to figure out what they're going to do. But at least we got a little bit of tidbits of information when it came to Joe Douglas and his combine presser. Lots of exciting things to happen. Guys, if you're watching this video before 8 o'clock, come and hang out at the Talking Jets channel. Me and Green Bean are going to be doing our 4th episode of the Armchair GM show, all about the draft combine. We're going to be talking about drills, what you should focus on, why the combine has value or doesn't, and everything in between. So go over there, drop a like, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, all of the things that you guys know that you have to do. And last but not least, go Jets.